Hello everyone, today is the first video where I'm going to be sharing my Python developer's experience. I have a lot of experience, like over 10 years of Python development experience, and so that's why I want to share it with you. I hope you will enjoy the video, and the first thing I want to talk about is using a tool called pyenv. Pyenv is a tool that allows you to have multiple Python interpreters on your machine. So there are a couple of reasons why you would want multiple Python interpreters on your machine. So the first reason is that you want to have a separate dedicated environment for your development than the system Python interpreter. Well, it's somewhat different from having Python virtual envs, which I will cover in the next videos, but it's more about what version of Python you're using. So your local Python version might be something like, let's see what I have here. Actually, I have version 3.10.6. This is my system Python version, but I might want to work on different projects, and they have different versions. But this is actually the reason number two. The reason number one is that you want to isolate your Python version from the version that you use for your development. And for development, I actually strongly recommend, and I follow it myself, that you use exactly the same version of Python which is used in production. So if you work on several projects in parallel, or even if you work on just one project, it's most likely the version of the Python most likely differs from that you have in your system. So that's why you want to use pyenv. So the second reason is that you might want to work on several projects using Python, and every project might have its own version of Python. Well, maybe you say, okay, let's upgrade everything to the latest version, but that's not always possible because you might work with other developers on the same project, and so they might not want to upgrade Python version to the latest one, or there may be some other reasons why you want to stay on a certain version, or maybe you just don't have a reason to upgrade Python to the latest version. That's why you might want to have different versions of Python on your machine. So let's see what Python versions do I have here. So here's a little help, and we can say pyenv versions, and it will show all the versions that that I have installed on my machine. So you can see there are plenty of versions there, right? So and there is a easy way to switch between versions. So as you saw, that was 3.10.6, and let's see, let's switch to the version 3.12.1. we just say pyenv local 3. Okay, and let's see what happened. Yeah, now we have Python version 3.12.1. And also how it works, it actually creates a little file here. You see this Python version file where the Python version is placed. As I say, it's different than version environments for Python, which I will cover in the next videos. But what we can see here, that the Python, this Python has its own environment. Like if you take a look at a pip version, for example, for Python version 3.12.1, you can see that it has pip version 24, And let's switch to some other version of Python, like 3.10. Okay, let's switch to 3.11.2 and see what we have there. 11.2. Okay. All right, so we have different version of pip. What it means is that for each version of Python, it has its own environment where it has its own libraries, and so it doesn't mess up with the system Python version. Well, the other thing, let's see what's the latest Python version we have right now. Python latest version. Okay. Yeah, 3.12.4. And I have only 3.12.2.1 on my machine. Let's try to install. I think we are going to fail because the pyenv itself is like outdated. Install 3.12.4. Yeah, it says it doesn't know about this version. Okay, so it actually, you can list all the version it knows, and you can see there's a long list of versions. It also supports, so as you can see, it supports different flavors of Python. So if you just see the numbers, it's just CPython, the original Python interpreter. And if you see something else like Active Python or Anaconda or whatever is here, so it's just another flavor of Python like Pipey. I didn't really install any of these flavors with pyenv, but I believe it works because it's there. And let's check what's the latest Python version we have here. Yeah, it's just 3.12.1. All right, so we have to upgrade the pyenv itself, and it has this update command, pyenv update. Boom. It's actually kind of installs itself in some Git repo here on local machine. You can even see it here, I think. And if you okay, all files. So you see this .git. This means that this is actually a Git repo. So it should be upgraded, and let's now try to install the latest Python version. Alright, it's downloading, and then it's actually compiling the Python here. And while it does that, let's go to pyenv website and see what we have there. Okay, pyenv. So just host it on GitHub, and it's actually pretty straightforward installation instruction here. It tells you how to install it, but I install it from Git repo because I'm on Linux. Where is the Linux installation instruction? Yeah, I guess this one. Yes, this one. Set up your shell environment for pyenv and all this stuff, so you can install it for Linux. Actually, it's, almost every operating system is supported, like MacOS, Windows here, and Linux. All right. So what else? interesting here. Here was a very important link: install Python build dependencies. This one. So it might happen that your build process fails, and this is most likely because you haven't installed these dependencies. And here should be a description of what is required. So again, for macOS, for Ubuntu, you just copy and paste all this apt install command, and it will install all the libraries required. And you actually need to do it just once on your system, and then all the different Python versions will be built easily. All right, let's see what we have here. It's still building. Yeah, let's maybe wait a little bit. All right, the build was successful. tkinter wasn't found, but it's not a big deal because I don't use a graphical interface application. I mean, I don't use the Python. I don't use Python for graphical user interface applications. I don't build graphical user interface applications, so it's just fine for me of not having tkinter there in Python. But the rest of it is just fine. And as you see, I just had some switches. So I switched to the latest version, and then you can see what's the content of Python version file, and then Python version actually is here. The installed version of 3.12.4 is there. All right, that's all for today, and if you have questions, please ask them in comments, and see you in the next video.